Yeah. I'd like to welcome everybody to my podcast. I am your gracious host, Jupiter 9. And what we're going to talk about in today's podcast, guys, is the fact that, this is my personal opinion, is that, as a group of people and adults, I feel like we had let this generation down. We have let our children down. And what I mean by that is that, let me just explain that children don't have to be your bloodline in order you to make a difference in their life, in order for you to guide them in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? All these children are your children. You know what I mean? Especially the ones that are in your community. And they are our responsibility to make sure that they stay on the proper path, the positive path in life. And you can see the effects of the children, the generation today, the millennials. I can't say that word, millennials. They wildin', man. You know what I'm saying? Look what they're doing in Chicago. Look what they're doing in New York City. Like they're shooting broad day. Innocent bystanders are being hit by bullets and all that. They're wilding. And nobody is saying anything, when they don't do well in school. Know what I mean? Nobody's saying, yo, how you doing? Asking them how they doing in school, or, telling them that they need to do better in school. Like the adults today act more like they don't act like adults. They're still stuck in their childhood. A lot of adults today, not all, you know what I'm saying, but in a lot of ways, people parent today is mad different than from when I came up. You know what I mean? In the late 70s and 80s, in the early in the 90s. You know what I mean? When we did something as kids and we weren't supposed to be doing that, you got beatings from your uncles. You know what I'm saying? If you had uncles that were, positive role models in the neighborhood, not only in the neighborhood, but in your family. Like me, I had my uncles. You know what I mean? When I did something wrong, uncles would, get at me and like, yo, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? And if they had to put hands on me, they had to put hands on me. And if it wasn't your uncles, it was the guys in the neighborhood. Even the street dudes would, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, you need to, stay in school, do good in school. And even the street dudes who were out there doing whatever they had to do to survive would, tell you what you were doing wrong and tell you not to do the things you were doing a lot of times, man. So, I remember we had this guy, this neighbor. Now, I mean, I grew up on Court and Broadway. So, Mr. Chambers, man. You know what I'm saying? He was like the senior of the neighborhood, and he would just sit out and watch the kids all day, making sure they were safe, you know what I'm saying? Making sure they weren't cutting up, you know what I mean? And when the kids did do something they weren't supposed to be doing in the neighborhood, and Mr. Chambers seen you, he'd tell your parents. You know what I'm saying? If your parents weren't around, he was gonna put hands on you. See, that's the era that I came up in, man. And that's what's missing with the youth today, man. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's checking them. Know what I mean? Nobody's checking them for their wrongdoings. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's checking them for disrespecting their parents. Nobody's checking them. The generation before, that's your job. You know what I'm saying? To guide them in the proper direction and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But nobody's checking them. Nobody's checking them when they mess up in school and they're getting terrible grades in school. You know what I'm saying? And they thinking it's cute to get bad grades in school. Nobody's checking them. So now you have a group of children that, think it's okay to, be a dummy. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's not okay. It's not okay to be stupid. It's not okay to flunk subjects in school. You know what I'm saying? It's not okay. It's not okay to do those things. And nobody's checking these kids, man. That's why they wildin'. There's no direction, It takes a village of the elders to keep the youth in in line. You know what I'm saying? I know times are a little different, and you can't do, well, you can, but people are afraid of going to jail if they put their hands on a kid or something like that, because of the times are different. But it's still ways you could still, you might not necessarily have to go that route, especially if they're not your family or your children. But you can still check them. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's checking these kids, man. You know what I'm saying? And then, they end up doing some wild stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? They end up, catching records and catching felonies and all this type of stuff is going to hold you back in life. You know what felony does to your record if you catch a felony. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get a 9-to-5 if you want to be like it's hard to pursue. If you want to be a lawyer or a judge or anything like that, you can still do it, but it just makes the journey that much harder if you got these things on your record. You know what I'm saying? And again, the way people parent today is like, it's mad different. You know what I'm saying? Parents today want to be children's friend rather than being these children's parent. Big difference. You know what I'm saying? Big difference. I know Mom Dukes, when she was raising us, she wasn't trying to be our friend. You know what I'm saying? She was putting hands on us, straight up. She was putting hands on us. Hands, feet, elbows, all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mom Dukes, she knew how to box. You know what I'm saying? No lie. It's like she knew how to box. Grandpops, you know what I'm saying? He boxed in the military. So he showed her how to box because he always, my grandpops was real big on women knowing how to defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? So he showed my moms how to box and all that, you know what I mean? And he always made sure they had, some type of artillery, like shotguns, handguns that were, at their disposal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to defend your home. You know what I mean? Especially if no male figures around, you got to defend your home. So, he made sure Mom Dukes and my aunt had shotguns, handguns, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? My aunt is not really like my mom. My mom's was like she was like a warrior, straight up. Like she would battle anybody, man. I seen her whip out grown men. You know what I'm saying? And for me not to want to not fight somebody, that wasn't happening, yo. That wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? Especially when your mom's is whipping out grown men. Did she win them on? No. But you know what I'm saying? Like, she was, fearless. You know what I'm saying? Fearless. And I'm glad she was that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad she was that way. I'm glad she did, raise me the way she did, because I'm looking at the youth today, and that's what they need, what I had. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of kids not kids, but adults, that's, you know what I'm saying, grew up in that era. I'm 45 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like, things was different. Things were mad different. Like I said, you, as a kid, you doing something you're not supposed to be doing. You going to get in trouble 3-4 times before Mom Dukes get to you. Then when she get to you, she gonna try to destroy you, man. For real. But these kids is wilding because they don't have that discipline. Nobody's disciplining them. Nobody's disciplining them. They just letting them do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then on top, they are being rewarded for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And this podcast episode, I'm not trying to tell nobody how to raise their kids and all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no kids. But the thing is, like, if I see a kid or, you know what I'm saying, a teenager disrespecting parents, I cannot allow them to continue doing that in front of my face. Or if I know they're doing that, I'm going to say something. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say something. And maybe, might put hands on them. If I get the okay from the parent that I can put hands on you, I'm going to put hands on you. Because you're not supposed to be disrespecting your parents, man. And the kids today, they're very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? They don't respect anything. They don't respect their moms. They don't respect their pops. You know what I'm saying? Even if pops is doing what he's supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? They still don't show any respect for the man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, These kids they just wild, man. They're wild. And, some people is going to probably say that, every generation before, don't like to generate the new generation. That's not the case with me. What I'm saying is I'm actually saying my generation is not stepping up. You know what I'm saying? My generation is not stepping up. They just allowing this generation, the young generation, just wild out and do whatever. Not do your schoolwork. You know what I'm saying? Disrespect your parents and disrespecting the elderly and disrespecting, you know what I'm saying, adults, and that type of stuff was not something that was allowed when I was coming up as a kid. You know what I mean? That stuff was not allowed, man. You don't let nobody, especially a kid, like, you know what I'm saying? But nobody is supposed to be disrespecting the elderly, adults, women and children, you know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to be doing that, period. And, the results that you see with the youth today, now, it's not all the youth, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the youth is doing what they're supposed to do, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? They out there grinding, getting to the bag. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what the youth is supposed to be doing. Getting to the bag, millionaires with the millenniums is over 600,000 millionaires. Millennials. So, a lot of millennials are not in this web of, creating this chaos in their life. And a lot of them are getting to the bag, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of them, they're out of control. They're out of control. Know what I mean? They're out of control. No, it's so very, it's very accessible to get a handgun now, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to get these things, these type of weapons and stuff like that, us as kids coming up back in the day, we didn't even think about having, you know what I mean? If we had an issue with somebody, we would just, we would shake it out, you know what I'm saying? Just, hands, shake it out. If you lost, you live to see another day, the thing was back in my time, you know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, it was, we fought with our hands and the knife, people had knives and all that back in my time, but mainly it was just hand fighting. You know what I'm saying? If you had an issue with somebody, but that's not something that's around anymore. You know what I'm saying? You liable to shake it out with somebody in the street, and then you liable to lose your life if you win or loss. You liable to lose your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just mad different, man. Just imagine if people just a lot of people lose their life over very small things, misunderstandings, things that can be talked out. A lot of times these things that people have issues with, you know what I'm saying, can be talked out. And see, this is where the role of the adult is supposed to come in and settle these matters between two people having beef in their neighborhood. This is where the adult's supposed to come in and be like, if you got an issue and you can't solve it by, talking it out, shake it out, hands, like, you know what I'm saying? And with that, still, you have to be careful because, you can land a punch a certain way and that person can hit their head on the concrete the wrong way and, lose their life, or, anything can happen. You could hit them the wrong way and they lose their life. Anything can happen. So you got to be careful with that too. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful with that, But, the way the youth is today and the lack of respect for the adults, their parents, the elderly, women and children, you know what I mean, is from the lack of adults stepping up to the plate and checking them. You know what I'm saying? And checking them. And the lack of parenting as well. Not only that, parents not understanding by adult checking their kid, that's not a sign of disrespecting their children. Like, a lot of parents see things wrong too. They don't see the big picture. What's the old saying? It takes a village to raise a child. That's a fact. It takes a village to raise a child. And now with the community today is very discombobulated. You know what I'm saying? And the community is really no more of a community anymore. There's really no community anymore. Now, I mean, things that, brought us together, the struggle, brought us together, you know what I'm saying, as a community back in the day. Because we all were going through the same struggle. Everybody was struggling. And the funny thing is, while everybody was struggling back in the day, it seemed like people were happier back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like children were happier. It just seemed like the less that we had back in the day, everybody seemed to be happier back in the day. Now with the internet and this technology thing, and the accessibility of all of these improved technologies, it seems like kids today are more depressed than ever. For real. Like, I mean, every time I turn around, man, I'm hearing stories about, cyberbullying and how this child took their life over cyberbullying, and it's just very sad and depressing to me. And I'm just wondering, like, what is the root cause of that? Like, when we were kids, we had a great time, and we didn't have much, but we had an amazing time growing up as kids, man. You know what I'm saying? We were constantly outside playing football and basketball and kickball and dodgeball and hide go seek. Like, we had such a great time coming up as kids. And then when the Super Soakers came out in the 90s, man, it was over, man. Those joints sold like crazy. I remember everybody had a Super Soaker, man. You know what I'm saying? For the life of me, I tried to get Mom Dukes to give me a Super Soaker. She never would get me a Super Soaker. She would give me this bum like these little bum water guns, and just like them joints never really did anything, really, for real. But it just seemed like, with all this technology, you would think that children would be more just happier, and it just seemed like they're not. And I think the problem is because kids don't get outside, man. You know what I'm saying? We as adults, as a whole, not individually, but as a whole, have failed our children. We have failed our children. You know what I'm saying? We have failed our children. You know what I'm saying? Big time. And we continue to we continue as adults fail the children. You know what I'm saying? This is just my opinion, but we got to improve, and we got to step up to the plate and check the children when they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Now, I know it's a little bit harder to do it for children that are not no way related to you any kind of way, or you don't really know. Know what I mean? But I mean, I'm seeing videos of children today disrespecting the elderly, like, and I know it's hard to, check them like teenagers and all that, because everybody, got some type of weapon on them. People are afraid to say anything, but I feel like you can still make a difference with the little kids, like, you know what I'm saying? Kids grade school, 7, 8 years old, 5 years old to like 12 years old. You can still make a difference, man. But once a child hits a certain age, it's going to kind of be hard to. You still can do it. You can still make an impact, but it's going to be kind of hard to make an impact that you want to in their life. If they're like 16, 17, I believe once they hit like 16, 17, when they're around that age, it's going to be difficult to turn them around. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it can't happen. You can still make an impact, but it's going to be kind of like difficult to penetrate what society has let them do up until that point, which is do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? And that's what society tells you today. It's okay to act a fool out in the streets. It's okay to, not give your all in school. If you don't want to do college thing, that's cool or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that, high school, you should be taking that seriously, man. If you're not trying to be your own boss and start your own business or finding ways to get to the bag without the school, then you need to be concentrating on school. If you're not, doing something to teach yourself outside of school, whether it's reading books on whatever particular type of subject that you're interested in, you need to be paying attention to school. Straight up. When I was coming up, people wanted to learn about their history, get knowledge itself. We read books, Did I do well in school? No. I was the type of kid that, when the test came, I aced them. It didn't take me much. It didn't take much for me to soak in the information and ace the test. Like, I can do that, But me sitting up in class, it was kind of boring to me, but I was always reading outside of, the curriculum they were giving me from school. So I was always reading books, on Egypt and all that, trying to learn my history, I'm finding out that we have a deep-rooted history in America now. So I'm getting a lot of books on that, We got a real deep history in America, way before Columbus, So I'm getting knowledge on that now, Well, actually, we got a very vast history all over the world, But a lot of people won't know that because, people don't take time to read anymore, I be asking the youth, what books have you read? And they look at me, they look at me like I'm crazy or something like that. Like, people don't read books no more. And, that's too. Parents need to push, we failed our children in that area too as well. If your child is creative, you need to push that. If he likes chemistry, he likes anything that's outside the box, like chemistry, if he likes to read, you need to push that. If he likes to draw, you need to push that. If he's very creative, you need to push that. That's something too that needs to be pushed as well. Your child's creativity, a lot of times I feel like, adults don't push that hard enough. If your kid likes to, take wires and mess around with stuff, I was that kid. I used to take stuff apart, put it back together. I remember one time I took a whole stereo system apart. And my aunt was like, your mom's gonna kill you for taking that brand new radio apart. But I took it. Didn't read no books how to put it back together or nothing like that. I just, I took it apart and I put the whole radio back together. Didn't know nothing about anything. And she was like blown away. Still to this day, she still talks about that. You know what I'm saying? She still talks about that. Now, if see, that's what my mom's feel me. Now, if my mom's would have continued to push that narrative, then I would have been probably somebody who could have changed humanity by, like free technology which is going on today. I would have invented something. Maybe I would have invented something that could have helped humanity in some kind of way. You don't know where that inspiration that your kid have, that thing that they have would have taken them if you just pushed it. Know what I mean? But I don't know. I just think kids today seem so depressed, man. And it bugs me out because with all these technology gadgets and computers and iPads and all this, you would think that they wouldn't be so depressed, but it just seems like they're very depressed right now, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids are, taking their lives for whatever reason, like the smallest little thing, man. I think kids mentally today are very, very fragile mentally. And I say that in a respectful way. I think kids today are very mentally fragile. Like the things I went through as a kid, I don't think this generation could handle that. Like real talk. Like I don't think they can handle. Like I've been through some stuff, which a lot of people been through some stuff. But this generation today, I don't think they can handle what I've been through. being homeless, you know what I'm saying, sleeping outside, and you know what I mean, people treating you like crap. Well, in America they do, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody, but you know, majority. And then, you know, trying to dig yourself out of that constantly. Been through that a couple of times. It's funny how, you know, America is supposed to be so wealthy and people around here homeless, man. You know what I'm saying? It just bugs me out, man. But I don't know how that can be. You know what I'm saying? They spend so much money on, you know, wars. They gave Ukraine all that money, and just like I see and I look around, there's people with no house. You can't help these people. Like, it's just like, it just blows my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? And these shelters, a lot of these shelters that you go to, they're ran down, they're old, they're outdated. You know what I'm saying? They're filthy, disgusting. And the way that they process homeless is just like, they put you in with everybody, you know what I'm saying? All types of issues. You know, you got people with mental issues, you got people with drug issues, you got people who just getting out of jail. I don't think that they should take and put everybody in the same mix like that, because not everybody has the same problem. But when you're homeless and people see you down on your luck, they automatically think you either got a drug problem or you got a mental problem. You know what I'm saying? It can't be because, you know, you lost your job or you just down on your luck. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you get your hours cut. You know, people don't, you know, they forget that you're one paycheck away from being on that concrete and figuring things out and sleeping outside on a bench. One paycheck away, because there's no guarantees when you're homeless. There's no guarantees that you even get a bed for the night. Each and every night, there's no guarantees. You can lose your bed every night. If you don't come in at a certain time, they give your bed to somebody else. So there's no guarantees you even get a bed. And there's been nights that I came in, I was probably 5 minutes late and I lost the bed for the night. So I had nowhere to sleep but outside. These are the things people don't think about when they go into their 9 to 5 every day. You know what I'm saying? They think that, you know, they got a 9 to 5 and they never been in that situation. It can happen in a blink of an eye, and before you know it, you be like, man, how the hell did I get here? How the hell did I get here? Because these jobs today don't pay you what they should pay you with inflation, and you're trying to stay afloat on top of, you know, inflation that's running rampant. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but at the end of the day, the adults, they got to step their game up when it comes to the youth. You know what I'm saying? They got to speak. They got to check these kids. Again, like I said, you got to check these kids who are not doing what they're supposed to do, especially, again, you know, little kids, ages 5 till, you know, I'll say probably 13, you know what I mean? You can still make a difference. But, you know, this is why they're wilding like this, man. This is why they're wilding and bugging out and you know, doing the things they're doing in the streets. You know, it used to be a code of conduct for that too. I never been in the streets and nothing like that, but still, everything had an order and had a place. You know what I mean? You just couldn't, back in the day, you just couldn't wild out and just shoot random broad day like that. And, you know, you couldn't do that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You got punished for that. Some type of punishment was coming your way. You couldn't do the things they're doing today, man. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do the things they're doing. And, you know, the adults got to step it up, man. You know what I'm saying? The adults got to step up. The men got to step it up and start checking these kids and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in school. You know what I'm saying? Respecting their parents. You know what I mean? And the parents got to stop acting like they're their friends and not their, and stop acting like their friend and act like their mother and father. And discipline them. Kids not disciplined. It's just it's just like you got a pet animal, and you don't discipline. What happens? He poops all over the place. You know what I'm saying? He's running all over the place. He's just using the bathroom all over the place. He's chewing up your furniture. You know what I'm saying? Not calling the kids animals, but, you know, if you don't discipline them, some of that animal mentality, man. You know what I'm saying? And, that comes from the lack of discipline. Nobody's checking them. Start checking these kids, man, especially the real young ones. Start putting them in their place. You know what I mean? Especially the ones that are in your community and the ones that you're related to and and nobody won't feel some type of way you checking their kids. You know what I'm saying? Got to put them in their place, man. You know what I mean? They can't be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Everybody has everybody has a job to do. You know what I mean? Men have a job to do. Women have a job to do. Children have a job to do too. And the children's job is to go to school, get A's and B's. A's, if they can get A's, yes, definitely. But A's and B's, you know what I'm saying? No excuse not to get anything less than a B. No excuse. And respect your parents, respect adults, respect the elderly, respect women and children. Respect everybody. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way it's supposed to go. A lot of this, the music is influencing this mess. A lot of this nonsense with entertainment is influencing this mess. And it's up to us adults to check it. You know what I'm saying? It's us adults to reverse the damage that's been done with the children. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have children, all these children are your children. But that's my take in this podcast episode. Please share this podcast episode with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Help my podcast grow. I definitely appreciate that, guys. But that's my take. I'm your gracious host, Jupiter 9, and I want to say peace and love to everybody. Take care. One.